Hi, my name is Nicole Albertson, and I'm a product manager here at E1 Solutions, and I'm here today to talk to you about building a SmartList Go To in SmartList Builder. Now, before we get started, just to tell you what a Go To is, in case you're not familiar with the terminology, that is that drill back from your list in SmartList or SmartView back to a GP window. With SmartList Builder, we have the option to build a lot of different types of go-tos, not just that drill back to a GP window, but other types. So just to quickly go through those, we have the built-in, which is taking those default SmartList go-tos that you're familiar with and adding those into your SmartList Builder setups. We can open form. Those go-tos don't go everywhere, and we can take any form in GP and build a go-to to it. We also have open file if you'd like to go to a file that you have linked in a specific field. We have open SmartList, which we can query other SmartLists based on the record in the first list that we're using a go-to on. We have open website, where we can pass parameters to a website and have that open with specific values filled in, such as a tracking number, something to that effect. There is an execute procedure option where you can write your own code to open windows and pass data to them. Run drill down, we'll use drill down builder to run that go-to that you have set up there. Open extender resource will allow you to open any extender form if you're using E1's extender product. And then there is just a separator so that you can put lines between your go-tos. But today we're here to talk about the open SmartList option. It's going to allow us to run a list, select a specific record, and have that record query into another list based on the record and the data that we pass through to it. So let's take a look at how we can do that. So we're going to open SmartList Builder. And I have a list created that brings in the payables distributions and the GL detail with that. So we're going to play with this list a little bit today. The first go-to I want to create is just comparing the vendor ID in our list to the vendor ID in the vendor addresses. Just need to sometimes get that address information, so I just want to create a quick go-to to get that information. So we want to do open SmartList, and so we're just going to call this vendor addresses. And the product for that SmartList that I want to open is a GP one, so we'll select that. And we'll go down and select that vendor addresses. Now what we need to do is compare the vendor ID in this PM distribution list that we have to a SmartList field. So I'm going to mark the SmartList field checkbox, and I want to, in the vendor addresses, pull up that same vendor ID. Okay, and that's all we have to do. So I will save this. And now if I want to, I can set that as the default go-to. If you had 3 or 4 of them, you can pick which one is the default, the double-click record. We'll just leave that for now. Say OK. Save this. For our demo, I'm going to use SmartView, but this will work in SmartView and SmartList. I'm going to open that list. And now I'm just going to pick a record here and use our go-to. And you can see that it has opened the vendor addresses SmartList, putting in just the International Telecom Association vendor and pulled up any addresses they have. Okay, so let's go back to our PM distributions, and we're going to go back to SmartList Builder, and let's look at another way we can use that go-to. We're going to add another one, an open SmartList, and we're going to do one now that's going to drill back to the account transactions, but what it's going to do is just pull up the accounts payable records for me that came from the PM check type. So we're just going to call this GL info for check. Again, it's a GP SmartList, and it's the account transaction one that we want. Now, instead of comparing two fields, one from each list, we're going to actually just say I want it equal to specific values. Kind of similar to how you probably do a lot of your search criteria when you're running lists. But what we're going to do is say that the account description is equal to accounts payable. And then we're going to pick the originating transaction source. And we're going to say it begins with PMCHK for the PM checks. And then that way we get any of the ones that begin with that value, as that's what we use to signify ours. We'll save this. And then we're going to set that as our default and say OK. Hit save. And it's going to run our list again. Now I'm just going to filter this down to ones that actually have journal entries, because of course we're going back to GL data now, so I want to make sure it actually contains that data. It doesn't matter which record I pick at this point, because I am telling it to go to this list and filter it based on a specific value, not really take the data from this list and put it into that list. So the first time we took data and we passed a specific vendor ID, this time I'm just passing, hey, I want it to be a PM check, and I want the account to be accounts payable. So I really can pick any record, and when I double click or go to GoTos and run that GoTo, it's going to open account transactions, and this way I can get back to just those account payables records on the GL side and view that information if I wanted to. Now I could pass specific values, I could pass a specific journal entry if I wanted to as well to get down to more detail. However you want to do that, I just want to show you that we can use those go-tos in a different way to drill back between one smart list and another. Maybe you have a scenario where you run your customer list. You know, your sales people are on the phone, somebody calls in, they pull up the customer very quickly because your customer list might have 5,000 records in it. But what they can do then is take a go-to from that customer list that drills to, say, the sales transactions of just that customer. Or maybe we have it drill down into project accounting where we have that customer associated to projects and we can see what open projects they have. So you can take it a lot of different ways using that smart list. Just think of it as I have two lists and I really want them to talk to each other and drill back and forth so that my end user doesn't have to run one, filter it, run another, filter it, or maybe save a bunch of favorites. Let's just have that go-to that is going to drill us back and forth between them all. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you learned a little bit about the SmartList Go To and now can take that and maybe use it in some of your own lists to drill back and forth and make life a little easier.